Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Scenes with your teen. We have this kind of small crew today. I suspect maybe it's a Halloween hangover. I don't know. Some people just didn't make it this morning. Too many Snickers bars. It can happen to the best of us. Just a quick follow-up, because we talked about this last week. I want to let everybody know I had more than 250 trick-or-treaters to my door. Many were teens. Most had costumes. 100% of them were polite. And most of them asked how much candy they could take. I was floored. And when you say, okay, like toward the end of the night, I'm giving it away. I'm like, take whatever you want. They're like, really? Okay. And they would take like 3 little pieces of candy. So moms and dads out there, thumbs up. You're raising a nice batch of kids.
I live in the same town as Jen, and we also have an end to our trick-or-treat time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It only goes from 6 to 7:30. So inevitably there are a few people, usually big people, who ring the bell after that.
Yeah.
I had so much candy. I just answer. I don't give them a hard time.
Just like dump the bowl.
Take it.
Take it. Because if they don't take it, I'm going to eat it. This is the slippery slope. This is like, the day after Halloween is the first day of holiday weight gain for me. It's just like, just starts from here and it never ends. So please come ring my bell. I'll give you some more candy. I still got it in the bucket. So anyway, that was just a quick wrap up from last week. And when we go around, if anybody wants to chime in about how their Halloween was, I know we'd be happy to hear about it.
Yeah, Jen, I just want to say that I actually put our candy in a salad bowl just because I think it's so ironic, that so like that's where I bring out this big wooden salad bowl full of candy. And I'm the only one who thinks it's funny or whatever who gets it. But yeah.
I think it's funny because I used to hide, when you buy the Halloween candy a little too early and you're worried it's all going to get nibbled away. I used to hide it in the crock pot. I thought that was hilarious. And then somebody added me up.
Jody needs to use salad tongs to really round out the picture.
I like it. Here's your Snickers bar. Here's your Reese's. It gets harder with like the Tootsie Rolls, but nobody should be giving out Tootsie Rolls. That's a punishment. Editorial. Okay. So anyway, that really wasn't the topic for today. I think we're supposed to be talking about what happens when moms lose their beep. And we want to really yell at our kids, especially when they're teens. They grind your gears. They do something that just makes your top want to blow. But we have to take the high road, or at least we're supposed to take the high road. So this came up organically in our chit chat last week. We were like, what do you do when you feel like you want to blow your top, but you really shouldn't, and you want to maintain the peace. So we're going to talk about what we do when that happens to us, but we really want to hear what you all do out there. So if you're watching us, and please tell us, first of all, tell us hello, tell us if you had a good Halloween. And then we want to know what happens when you're about to lose your cool. How do you handle yourself? What coping techniques do you have? And I'm going to tell you what mine has been in the past. And I've noticed I am not the only one doing this. I might drive off somewhere and go talk to a friend on my cell phone in my car, parked in a parking lot. And I know I'm not the only one doing this, because one day I was outside of the gym where I used to go to exercise in the before times. And I'm on the phone and I'm talking to somebody, and I look up and I look across and I make eye contact with another mom doing the exact same thing. And then I look to my left and there's another one. She's doing the same thing. So that clearly is a safe space for moms and dads to go when they need to talk to somebody about how mad you are. Who would like to share? And do I have any volunteers who wants to share? Oh, Eka, join us.
Good morning. Look, orange still. That's it. This is all I have for Halloween. Anyway, when we came up with this topic last week, I thought back about how sometimes you wake up in the morning and right from the start, things are not going well. And you're like, okay, we got to turn this ship around because it's not going to get better. So on those kinds of days where I could tell that things were just not going to go well, I call those my social worker days. And that was the day that I pretended that there was a social worker in my house observing my parenting and then deciding whether or not they were going to take my kids away. So when you look at parenting that way, then it really made me think about what I was doing and made me really watch that I didn't say anything that was horrible when I wanted to, or just act out. And so I didn't have those very often, but most of the time they started when days where I just knew that it was just not clicking with us. So those were my social worker days. And I think for the most part they worked because nobody came and took my kids away. So anyway, I'm going to pass it over to Jody.
Let me unmute. So I kind of have a little variety of things, but sometimes I just yell, but it's usually, hey, like just do this. Like we don't really, I don't yell insults. Most of the times I think when anger surfaces in our house, it was because somebody needed to do something that they weren't doing or whatever. But my also other kind of funny thing is, I would get on the phone and I would try to call my husband, who is, the yang to my yin and like the nicest person around, and also less involved just because he was not home as much. So he was not getting like the front row seats to this. And, 80% of the time I couldn't reach him, but it was just the act of like kind of taking a minute and making, like kind of turning away from it. But then when I would call him, I mean, he was so distracted. He wasn't really listening to me. And as I was like going on and on about this, I would like peter out, and I realized like either I'm overreacting or like yelling isn't going to matter or whatever. And I would still have no strategy, by the way. But that was like a good, like kind of little, personal, timeout or whatever, where I could like kind of get myself together. But also my kids, each of them kind of responded very different ways and how they, would kind of push the buttons. So, it was, a lot of it was trying to figure out how to, how to, how to meet fire with fire or whatever, how to manage each one, which, was a kind of interesting. But I will say that every night, late after, I would walk the dog around the block with my husband and we would have this conversation. And I would say probably 5 out of 7 nights a week, we would say, in spite of it all, we just feel so lucky. And like, that was a very grounding little mantra. Like, and it wasn't like fake or anything. We would just kind of get to it and we'd either be laughing about it by then or like, oh my gosh, or whatever. But then we would both look at each other and say, like, if this is the worst thing, we're really lucky. And we'd kind of go on. So, we were lucky like that. So I don't know. All right. I'll just go next to Mindy, who is on my other side, but this StreamYard is backwards. So.
Thanks. Thank you, Jody. So you guys lose your cool, huh? You can't keep it together. Wow. That's so unfortunate for your children. No. So, I have done, the 3 of you have gone, I've done all 3. I don't think I've done the social working thing, but, certainly I have, left the house, like when the kids were gotten in my car. I have also, my favorite story, and I know the group has heard this before, but I got so mad one night. Clearly patience is not my thing. And clearly I have no tips, but I do have stories. I got so mad and it was dark, winter. And I walked out of the house. My husband was home and we all have our irrational fears. And mine is, I don't like to be out in the dark, because that strange, crazy person is going to get me. So I storm out and I get to the end of the driveway and I realize, oh God, I'm out here by myself. What am I going to do? I'm a little scared, but I can't go right back in. So I had to like do circles at the end of my driveway. But for me, I think it's really hard. Patience is not something I have. I would try to, just cut the conversation off. We'll talk later. Jody, certainly talking with my husband was huge, but that's usually too late, right? That's usually after the heat of the moment and to find it. So I don't know. That is certainly not a strong point of mine. I did yell. I don't know. I would try and control it as I got better, but I had no solutions. It was really hard for me. I have to say, I would keep it kind of like inside, quiet on a rational level, and then I would blow. So that's all I got. I got nothing, but maybe if I throw it on up to Kamira, she's got something that can help us.
Hello, good morning. Okay, well, I'm the strong silent type, so My guys, if they could hear this, their eyes would be rolling. So I express myself often. I am whining often. So I had to think about this. I was like, I think I blow regularly, so I'm not sure what's the difference. And then I realized I know what it is, and they know what it is. If I go completely silent in any situation, there's trouble. If I'm not putting, because that means I'm using all the energy I put out inwards to manage this situation. And if I remove myself from them and just retreat into a book or like Hallmark movies or something, they're like, leave her alone, leave her alone. And they just tiptoe around me. And literally my husband will open a door, he'll peek in and he'll go, we were thinking about dinner. Is there anything in particular you would like? Because they don't know who did what. And I just imagined them out there going, was it you? Was it you? Was it you?
Myra, I was really, really worried for a minute that where that was going was going to be like, we're wondering what you had planned for dinner. And I was like, that would be the thing that would make me absolutely, my head would just pop off at that point. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that they know better than to ask it that way.
Yeah. No, that would only happen once. So that's what happens when I become completely silent and I really, it's either not worth it or I just can't muster up the energy to deflect it out to them. They're like, oh, we did something bad. Do we all go? I think no, Sharon, it's Sharon's turn. Okay, Sharon, go ahead.
Hey, everybody. So, like a lot of us here, I'm a big fan of timeouts. And by that, I mean timeouts for mom. Even when my kids were little, every once in a while, I'd say, I need a timeout. Just like shut myself in the bathroom or something. The problem often, even now, is like what really drives me mad is when it's like an endless whining or an endless arguing or endless bickering. It just, it's the relentlessness of, it's not one thing ever. It's just like, it grinds you down, and or at least me. And then I'm like, So my favorite time to take time out, because often they'll follow me and it doesn't work. I don't like that. But the one time it does work usually is when we are cleaning up from dinner. So at our house, this is like a success. We have, for years, it's like the plan is after dinner, everybody cleans up together. One of the kids hand washes. We all put the leftovers away. Somebody puts the stuff in the dishwasher. Oh, it's very smooth. We never have any problems with this, right? No, some nights it goes okay, right? But other nights it's like, this one is like rolling on the floor. I mean, who cares if they're teenagers? They're still doing something. They're messing with the cat, or I don't know what they're doing. Bickering. They're not doing anything. And I find that, only the grown-ups are cleaning up or whatever. And at that moment, I may give a warning. I may say, if you guys don't get it together, I'm leaving. And so is Dad. I'll just announce this for both of us. No. They might come and step it up. But, 50% of the time, they just keep rolling along. I said, I'm out of here. You can do it on your own. And they hate that. But for some reason, they take it seriously and they actually complete the job. They don't follow me. And I have this satisfaction of like, yeah, I made dinner. Yeah, I did a lot. Yeah, if they can't do that, they can do it by themselves because I'm still mad, So anyway.
I hear your inner Jersey coming out when this happens.
That's true. The Jersey does come out when I get wound up. It's still there. And, I hone that well with some Jersey driving. So there's a sharp edge inside. Don't test me, kids. All right. Well, that's all I've got. And I think, Kamira, I'll send it back to you.
Unmute, Kamira. We want to hear your pearls of wisdom.
I wanted to warn Sharon that the bickering over the chores and stuff, it never ends. I have adult sons who still bicker over that stuff. And also like the seat at the dining table at a meal, they haven't been there for months. They're like, no, last Christmas I sit there every Christmas.
Oh, I can't even tell you. I forgot about that. The fighting over the seats. Like it's just fun to have something to argue about. Apparently, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about that post-dinner time. It's like you'd think that that would calm everybody down, but that does seem to be a flashpoint many times. And I don't know. We might need to delve deeper on that. Somebody out there explain to us what is it about right after dinner is when all hell breaks
Mornings
loose.
and after dinner.
Yeah, there are some
Right?
definite trouble zones. So
Well, and when you're talking about seats, how about in the car? Are you ever going anywhere? Again, grown
Oh,
kids.
oh
The
yeah,
front. I mean,
yes.
does it never ends? Who
It
gets
never
the front?
ends.
Who has to sit in the middle? Never ends. So.
Absolutely. Eka, you had something you say?
Yeah, I was going to say, Sharon, talking about when you put yourself in timeout in the bathroom. Totally get that, except as my husband says, that I have the patience and the personality of a 13-year-old boy. I actually not only go in the bathroom when I needed a timeout, I also then, from the bathroom with the door closed, I would flip them off, and it would just make me feel better. You know, and I'd be like,
Whatever you
yeah,
gotta
I
do,
know
right?
that's really mature, but you know, it was just that little, and then I would call them really horrible names in my head. And it, you know, none of it ever came out, but I just needed to do something with that like frustration. So yeah. And so sometimes like what my husband would come in the bathroom and he'd be like, are you in here flipping them off again? I was like, hey, give me some space.
I gather that the imaginary social worker does not follow you into the bathroom then. He or she stays outside the bathroom. That's boundaries, people. We got to have boundaries. All right. So we didn't get anybody chiming in with us today. I have to assume everybody has a Halloween hangover, but we do want to hear from you. So you can keep the conversation going even after we sign off. And we also want to know what's on your mind. What else do you want us to talk about? Because we clearly solved all your problems today. And Kamira, do you want to talk about what's coming up this week? Do you have any great interviews to talk about?
Thanks for the reminder. Tomorrow, we're talking to Dr. Nsinga Burton. She is a media specialist. She's amazing. And she's going to talk to us about using the media to bond with, communicate with, and instruct your teens. And I'm hoping she's also going to give us like a list of streaming or movies or stuff that is really cool to sit down and watch so we can take notes on that and just pull it up in our to-watch list.
Excellent. Well, the weather's starting to change. It's going to be more time spent indoors. So that sounds like perfect timing for that. So thanks for joining us this morning, everybody. We'll be back here next week. And we hope you have a great week. Talk to you soon.